What's up, guys? HegsterTCG, the channel that brings you guys competitive Pokemon content, here today with another meta-analysis here from the top 8 decks from Hegster Top Deck Tournament Series 2, number 4 here. Player size just keeps getting bigger and bigger. 126 players from Friday night. Some top names even. I don't even want to go into them. There's so many top names, guys. Incredible series. Just want to, first of all, start off by thanking everyone who's been supporting the series. If you guys want to play in these tournaments, the Discord link for that server will be down below, where we run our tournaments through Battlefy. You can get all the info there in that Discord server. Also, make sure to go follow the Twitch channel. I stream pretty much nightly there, and I obviously stream all the tournaments and commentate that. And we have some cool guests coming on that you guys are not going to want to miss. And you can catch all the action right there, twitch.tv/HegsterTCG. But yeah, going to be going over not only the top 8 decks here, but a few pretty interesting decks that I wanted to give some credit to and point out here from Friday's tournament. So I think we're just going to go ahead and jump into it here. I know you guys want to see these lists, see what is up, what is happening here. So we'll go ahead and start out right away with that 8th place list from Friday's tournament here. Looks like Stefano Morales, I think here is the name. If some of these names may be incorrect or I may mispronounce them, so if they are, I'm gonna go ahead and give a apology in advance here. But was playing Eternatus here, so obviously the Eternatus VMAX with Dread End here, 30 for each dark Pokemon in play, similar to that Mega Rayquaza from years ago, and Eternal Zone allows that to be even easier to get multiple Pokemon in play, allowing you to have 8 bench Pokemon, or up to 8 bench Pokemon rather, if they're all dark Pokemon. So you can hit 270 damage, and we have ways to increase that with Zigzagoon. That puts 10 damage when we put it onto our bench, and that can be reused with Scoop Up Net as well, which we also play. Pretty standard stuff here in the list. 4 copies of Crobat. Interesting, the list is playing 2 copies of Absol here. So Dark Ambition, saying that basic Pokemon require 1 colorless more to retreat, if it is a basic. And since we play multiple copies, it actually stacks. So if we have 2 Absol in play, it is now 2 more colorless energy for basic Pokemon to retreat. Or rather, not energy cost. Other interesting inclusions, besides that, it's pretty straightforward. Only 18 Pokemon on this list here. Just 1 copy of Hoopa to round out the Pokemon here. But a lot of search options here. It looks like 3 copies of Great Ball, 3 Pokemon Communications here, and 4 Quick Ball. So 10 search options in total here. Pretty cool stuff. Obviously, Stefano wanted to make sure he could find his Pokemon here. Not playing too many, but finding them is definitely important in this deck that revolves around getting Pokemon into play to deal big damage. And to round out the item cards in the deck here, 2 copies of Reset Stamp here for hand disruption, as well as 4 copies of Scoop Up Net. And yeah, 3 copies of Dark City is the stadium card of Stefano's choice. Wanted to be able to give free retreat to those basic dark Pokemon in play. Yeah, and looks like for supporters, we have 4 copies of Research here, 3 copies of Marty, and 3 copies of Boss. And yeah, that wraps it out for all the trainers. And for energy, looks like going for 13 energy here, 8 basic dark energy, 4 hiding energy, and a capture energy. So yeah, that was Stefano's 8th place list here as we jump into our 7th place list here. Looks like, all right, that was that correct? I think that was the right one here. Maybe I might have gave it the wrong name here, so let me double check here if this is correct. Yeah, I must have gave it the wrong name here, though. This is the 4th tournament here. I think I might have put number 3 next to it. Anyhow, going into that 7th place list here, Josh Sutherland here piloting this Luck Metal Zacian deck to a top 8 finish here. So good stuff on him. Definitely an interesting build. Excited to go over some of the cards in this deck. Obviously revolves around Lucario Melmetal with Full Metal Wall GX to give your metal Pokemon a little bit more buff. Resistance to attacks, and also can discard energy attached to your opponent's active if it has 2 energy attached to it. So interesting stuff there. And also Zacian V is a great attacker in the deck. Intrepid Sword allows the deck to have a little bit more consistency to it, as it's only playing 1 Crobat as its draw support here. Other attackers here, 2 Zamazenta, great against those VMAXs that are slowly making their way into the format. Dauntless Shield preventing damage done to it by VMAXs. 1 copy of Duraludon for a little bit of an out against Decidueye. Resists Grass, it's just a good attacker. Metal Sharpener can accelerate energy into play. Just an overall solid flex card to have around. And 2 copies of Oranguru with Primate Wisdom, allowing you to manipulate top decks. And again, allow your deck to have a little more consistency to preserve some cards from Research, Marnie, all that fun stuff. And then 1 copy of Eldegoss to get back some of those key supporters that you want to keep around. For trainer cards, look like Josh is going to go ahead and opt to play Crushing Hammer in his deck. So it's a good way to, again, disrupt energy. Zacian decks a lot of time like to be able to disrupt energy, slow down the pace of game. And yeah, Crushing Hammer is a great card for that. Looks like opting for 1 copy of Great Catcher to gust up some of those GX Pokemon in play. 4 Metal Saucer, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Switch, pretty solid stuff we see in a lot of these Zacian Luck Metal decks. Definitely the 4 Quick Ball, 4 Switch in a lot of decks right now. Yeah, looks like 2 copies of Reset Stamp for hand disruption. a copy of Tool Scrapper to get rid of tools, and looks like opting to go for 2 Power Plant as the stadium choice, being able to shut off those GX Pokemon's abilities, which of course this deck plays no GX ability Pokemon. And that's going to wrap it out for the trainers, or the items and the stadium. Does also play 2 copies of Cape of Toughness, so interestingly enough, not opting to play Metal Goggles, which we see a lot of lists play, is going to opt to go for Cape of Toughness to give stuff like maybe Oranguru or his Crobats a little bit more padding, and maybe values just having more HP over Metal Goggles. So definitely an interesting inclusion there from Josh that we haven't seen in a lot of lists. So definitely interesting to see why he thought about that. I may ask him a few questions after to see why he was playing Cape of Toughness. Definitely cool stuff. And then, yeah, for supporters here, 2 copies of Birdkeeper to switch and draw. Definitely an interesting inclusion in this deck, but pairs very well, especially because Zacian cannot use Brave Blade the next turn. So good way to reset it to the bench, draw yourself some cards, do all that fun stuff here. Looks like 2 copies of Boss's Orders as well to gust up some Pokemon here. Solid card in a lot of decks right now, so it's no wonder that this deck is playing it as well. 2 copies of Malilana for heal and switch, 2 effects this deck also loves. 4 copies of Marnie and 3 copies of Research to round out all of our supporters and trainer cards here. Looks like Josh is opting to play 3 Weak Discard Energy. Fire Pokemon are slowly creeping their way back into the format, so wants to have some sort of an out. We know we are getting that new special Metal Energy. That's just the same thing as Weak Discard, but only for Metal types, so that'll probably get replaced there and make this deck even better. But as of right now, we have to use Weak Discard Energy. And then to round it out, 10 copies of Metal Energy here in Josh's 7th place list. So again, congratulations to him on that here. As we jump into our 6th place list, I'll probably have to get some water here. Oh, I'm out of water. Well, I'm out of luck, chat. I'm out of luck here as we get into for now Augusto. Augusto's 6th place list here. Looks like ADP Zacian, so obviously ADP with Alter Creation here. We'll go over this quickly. We've covered this a lot on the channel. Point out some interesting things. Is playing that Jirachi build, so is playing Scoop Up Nets, Switches, and Jirachi in his deck. Interesting inclusion there. Opting to go with Melodic V, having an out against Centiskorch. Don't know how many of those he hit today. I think the highest placing Centiskorch list was 33rd from Friday's tournament, so could possibly be cut if you are looking to play this for something that maybe helps your consistency more, gives you a better attacker. If you really are afraid of Centiskorch, then yeah. And then from there, it looks like, yeah, pretty standard stuff besides that. Sorry, chat. We got 3 Zacian V, 2 Dedenne, a Eldegoss, a Zigzagoon, because he is playing Scoop Nets. It's good to have a little bit more of an out against Mewtwo and Mew, and a Crobat V. And then going to trainers here, it looks like 2 copies of Cherish Ball, is going for that Energy Spinner build, and 4 copies of Energy Switch to try to get that turn 1 Alter Creation. A single copy of Great Catcher, again, a lot of GX Pokemon still in the format, great way to gust without using your supporter for turn. 4 Metal Saucer, 4 Quick Ball, pretty standard stuff, 4 Scoop Nets, and 4 Switch. Is opting to play 3 copies of Turbo Patch to accelerate energy into his board. Stuff like Zacian cannot obviously put on that ADP, but can put on some other stuff that he has in play. And then looks like 4 supporter cards, 3 copies of Boss, 1 copy of Marnie, and 4 copies of Research for his supporters. And then 8 and 2 on his energy count here. So yeah, congratulations to Augusto on his 6th place list here. And this 5th place list, the next list we have here, is very interesting. It is Dragopult. So Dragopult getting 5th place in Friday's tournament out of 126 players here. Haven't seen this in a while because of the Rise of Eternatus, which Dragopult obviously is a very unfavorable matchup against, with it being weak to Dark, and getting one-shotted and not being able to even, I think, two-shot Eternatus VMAX. So yeah, Max Phantom, 130, 50 onto the 5 damage counter, so 50 damage essentially onto the bench. Shred also does 60 and ignores effects, so 2 very solid attacks here. Is playing that Jirachi build with a copy of Crobat, 1 Oranguru, 2 Zigzagoon here, and it looks like a Giratina and a Mewtwo as well. So Giratina, go over this quickly, Dimension Breach, so when you bench it, you discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active, so it's a great way to slow down the pace of play, limit your opponent on their energy count a little bit here. And Mind Report Mewtwo as well, giving supporters back into the deck, so puts it onto the top, and you can draw into it with Oranguru here. And interesting inclusions is playing Fion here with Whirlpool Suction, so that they can, basically it's escape rope, but only for your opponent. Just in case they have something up and you want to get that to the bench, you can use Fion. Put your opponent in an unfortunate spot sometimes. It's very situational, but when it works, it's very good. So, looks like Seth wanted to go ahead and play that in his list. And also playing the Mr. Mime with Screw Up block to make sure that those Pokemon that are non-GX, non-V can't get picked up, so that they can get easily knocked out with damage from Max Phantom. And that's going to wrap it up for the Pokemon here in the list. Looks like is going for that Crushing Hammer build. So 4 Crushing Hammer, discarding energy, hopefully, if he hits heads, off of his opponent's side. 4 Pokemon Communication, 4 Quick Ball, 1 copy of Reset Stamp, and then 4 Scoop Net, and only 3 Switch in this deck. And then also playing 2 Giant Bomb. So A great way to basically put an ultimatum on your opponent and say, hey, if you're going to deal 180 damage or more to me, you're going to take 100 back. So it kind of puts a situation where your opponent is either forced to gust around it, take damage, and that, again, sets up very nicely with the math on Max Phantom, allows even 2 shots on VMAXs if they get hit by Giant Bomb. So very solid stuff there. And then for supporters, looks like 2 copies of Boss, 3 Marnie, 4 Research, and interestingly enough, plays a copy of Rose. So this is a new supporter from Darkness Ablaze that says you can attach 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your VMAXs, but you have to discard your hand. So I wonder how clutch this came in for Seth. It's obviously a pretty hefty price to pay for that effect. But maybe if you have no cards in hand, right, you can at least get a Rose going and retreat your Pokemon. So not bad stuff at all. So. And yeah, to round it up, it looks like 4 copies of Horror Energy here and 5 Psychic. So yeah, Seth's 5th place list, excuse me there, sorry about that. As we get into the top 4 now, looks like it is Caleb making another top 8 finish here with Mewtwo and Mew again, a deck he feels pretty comfortable piloting, it seems. Obviously, Mewtwo and Mew with Perfection, allowing it to copy GX Pokemon. Obviously, no EXs in this format. In play and discard pile, and we play a lot of those attackers here. We'll go over them quickly. Lightning round here. Charizard does 140 and 300 mainly for that GX attack. 300 is very solid. Victini here, Spreading Flames is a great way to get energy into play, and Energy Burst is a great option to deal with Zacian V. Same with Reshizard here, but Flare Strike is just a good attack. Double Blaze can be very situational, and Outrage is also solid, so 3 very good attacks to this Pokemon. Naganadel with Venom Shot allows you to snipe things, as you are obviously playing Aurora Energy, which provides every type of energy. Giratina Garchomp is a new inclusion in this deck that he has been playing for today's top 4 finish. Mainly, I think, just for Calamitous Slash to set up certain math. Linear Attack is also just a good attack to set up numbers and snipe things. So yeah, playing Garchomp and Giratina in the deck. Incineroar for, obviously, Darkest Tornado, and also Crushing Punch is very good as well. So wants to play Incineroar in his list. And DDV is sort of a support Pokemon and an attacker. Psychic is very good against specific things. It's not weak to Psychic as well, so usually in the matchups you're using this, it's very nice to have this as an attacker. So it's playing in DDV, and it looks like 2 Dedenne, 4 Rachi, a Zigzagoon, a Crobat, and a Eldegoss to wrap out the Pokemon here. And then onto trainer cards, 4 Cherish Ball, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Switch, 3 Scoop Net, and 2 Reset Stamp in this deck for all the items, and 3 Giant Hearth as the Stadium Caleb is playing. And then 6 supporters, 4 Welder here, obviously the main card. That's not it. 4 Welder here, obviously the main card, allowing you to accelerate fire energy from your hand to your Pokemon and draw yourself some cards. Good stuff there. And then obviously Boss's orders to gust up some Pokemon and take prizes on what you want. And then looks like the energy count 10 and 4 here for 4 Aurora Energy and 10 Fire Energy here for Caleb. So congratulations to him on his top 4 spot. And looks like EdwardValencia here is our 3rd place finisher here. I know the list formatted a little bit weird here, but yeah, interesting stuff. Playing Decidueye Obstagoon here, so Decidueye with Deep Forest Camo, allowing it to not be hit by GXs and Vs by damage. So sort of your game plan with this deck is to wall out your opponent with Decidueye, and you can also use Obstagoon here as well if you need to with Obstruct to prevent damage done to this by basic Pokemon. And then slowly just start hitting, and your opponent has no outs to sort of answer Decidueye in most cases. You kind of just win by sitting there and splitting arrowing, or your opponent scooping the matchup. So playing a 4-2-4 line of that to 2-0-1 line of Obstagoon here. Interesting. So yeah, mainly just a Decidueye deck, but also playing that Obstagoon as well. So wonder how clutch that came in with him. You can catch all of those VODs. I think we streamed him for top 8 and top 4. So you guys can check that out on the Twitch channel. The VOD is up for that tournament. And yeah, looks like 4 copies of Jirachi as well. To wrap out the Pokemon, so only 17 Pokemon in this deck. And then 4 trainers, looks like a copy of Ordinary Rod. Excuse me. Looks like 3 Pokemon Communication, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Rare Candy here, 4 Scoop of Net, 2 Switch, a Tool Scrapper here to wrap out the trainer cards here for items. And it looks like also 2 copies of Big Charm here to give his Pokemon a little bit more HP, prevent them from getting knocked out by some things that deal 140 damage. Nice little bump into the HP here. Looks like opting to play 2 copies of Turf Field here to find out those Grass Evolution Pokemon. Very nice card in this Decidueye deck. And looks like 2 Boss, 3 Marnie, 4 Research, and 2 Rosa for the supporters in the deck. And looks like 9 energy here, 5 grass, 3 weakness guard, and only 1 dark energy here. So if he needs to get Obstagoon out, probably going to hope that either that Obstagoon isn't prized or that dark is not prized, as he's playing very low copies of that. But yeah, definitely an interesting list by Edward. I want to see if this is going to sort of propel itself into the meta a little bit more here, having some answers to these top decks such as Mewtwo and Mew. A lot of the time Mewtwo and Mew has been teching for this, but if not teched for it, has a pretty good matchup against that. And a turn of this can be very close as well. So yeah, shout out to Eddie for his 3rd place list there. As we get to our final 2 lists here, it looks like Patrick here, who got 1st place in our tournament on Wednesday here, Piloting Mewtwomu again to his second place finish, so getting to finals 2 nights in a row with 100 plus players, nothing to scoff at. Covered most of this stuff, so we'll go ahead and take a look at what's different here. Is playing Rhyperior V with heavy rock artillery to have a little bit of a better out against a Eternatus. One thing to note is it will take 2 turns to power up, because it is 4 energy, and the maximum energy you can get to play is 3. So something to note there with that. Is also playing Greninja GX with Miss Slash to get through Decidueye, so you have a little bit of a better out against the Decidueye. We did see him take down a Decidueye in top 4, so really proving its use in his deck there. Anything else to note? Pretty similar stuff. Is playing Marshadow with Resetting Hole to get rid of stuff like Chaotic Swell if he wants to get his Giant Hearth into play. Pretty much similar stuff there for Rachi, Zigzagoon, Crobat, 2 Dedenne, and an Eldegoss. And then for trainer cards, looks like 4 Cherish Ball, 4 Quick Ball. Is playing a copy of Fire Crystal, so looks like playing a 1 less Fire Energy than Caleb here, but wants to prioritize getting those energies back and having a better late game, I would guess, with Fire Crystal here. Only playing 1 copy of Reset Stamp, 4 Swimnet, and 4 Switch here to wrap out the trainer cards, or item cards rather, and then 3 copies of Giant Hearth to find energy again, and then the similar copies of supporters for Welder and 2 Boss. And then for energy, looks like 9 Fire and 3 Aurora will be what Patrick had played for Friday's tournament. So again, congratulations to Patrick on that finish. And we'll get into our first place list here. The one list on this account that I actually don't have 3 Spiritomb of, but it is Luca Claudesture. I actually think I hit him in the Pog Day 2 here. So he is an EU player, so stayed up to play in the tournament here. So cool stuff to see a lot of players from around the world here playing and doing well. I think we actually had players from like multiple countries here in top 8, as well. I think we had some players from Latin America as well. So very cool to see players from around the world here competing and placing here in these tournaments. So again, tournaments VMAX, pretty standard stuff. We covered it before. Dread End, 30 times each of your dark Pokemon in play. And is playing few occlusions, is playing 4 Zigzagoon and 4 Crobat like a lot of lists are. Is playing 1 copy of Sableye V, 2 great attacks here, Load Search, allowing you to take any trainer card from your discard pile back into your hand. So good stuff to recover cards and even set up checkmate scenarios. And Crazy Claws is a great out against Zamazenta V. And just a good tech in general here, 10 plus 60 more for each damage counter, which pairs very well with Zigzagoon and Headbutt Tantrum, which can be reused again by Squidnet. And is opting to play 3 copies of Spiritomb, Building Spite and Anguish Cry here to an ability and attack that pair very well with each other, putting damage counters on yourself and dealing damage for every damage counter on yourself. So wants to have, again, very nice out against the Zamazenta, and also wants to just have a little bit of a better one-prize attacker, as if this thing can get set up early and build damage on itself, it can deal 160 damage in the late game for a single energy, which is very, very solid here. And then that's it for the Pokemon. Looks like 3 Great Ball, 4 Pecom, and 4 Quick Ball, so playing 11 Pokemon Search outs here. So very cool stuff for the item cards, and then 4 Squibnet to wrap it out. As the last item, is opting to play Dark City as well. We've seen some lists play Dark City here, so it's cool to see this list is opting to play that as well. And then playing straight consistency, it seems, as supporters here. 4 Research, 4 Marnie, and 4 Boss. So some lists have been playing Piers, but none here in the top 8 have been playing Piers, so just an interesting thing to note here. Yes, very cool. So, and then also 10 Energy here, playing 3 Hiding Energy and 7 Dark Energy to wrap it out here. So that's all of our top 8 decks. I want to also go ahead and cover 2 cool decks that we saw here. If I can go ahead and pull it up here, let's see what happens if I search this here, and we can see what we find here. First thing I want to cover here is Ryhornmill. This was a list that Harry piloted here, and we actually featured this on stream, and it was very, very cool. So I personally thought that Mill was dead, but after seeing what this deck did today, it was very, very solid and very cool. Rhydon here from Unbroken Bonds has the Dirty Work attack, saying you discard top card of your opponent's deck, and if you play Giovanni's Exile, you discard the top 5 instead. So obviously Giovanni's Exile is being played in this deck for We'll just go ahead and cover this now. You discard up to 2 of your bench Pokemon that have no damage counters on them, and all cards attached to them. So if you have stuff like the Dene or other liabilities in your bench, you get to discard them, and you get to mill more cards with Rhydon here. And also wanting to mill more cards with this Alolan Muck with Adventurous Appetite that lets you look at your opponent's top 6 cards when you evolve it, and you can discard any number of item cards you find there. So again, trying to get your opponent to 0 cards in deck. Muck can sometimes just get rid of those item cards, slow your opponent down, and mill cards in the deck. Looks like playing 3 copies of Dene obviously wants to continuously draw, is not playing stuff like Cincino in this deck, so wants to continuously be able to find their Giovanni's Exiles as well as their other Pokemon and their Muck line, which they can reuse with Squibnet as they play 4 copies of that in here. So definitely interesting stuff here. 1 Crobat, 1 Zacian here to end your turn off and draw yourself some cards. Mew with Bench Barrier, and looks like Mewtwo here as well. Since you are playing Squibnets, why not recover yourself some of your supporters onto the top of your deck? So interesting stuff there for sure for oh god, I keep forgetting the name of our player here. Harry was the player who piloted this deck here. And then for trainer cards here, 2 Fishing Rod here to get back stuff like Curse Shovel and Pokemon. 3 Lily's Pokédoll. Sometimes you're not able to keep attacking with Rhydon, my bad, every turn. So you want to at least promote a Lily's Pokédoll. Make sure your opponent can't take prizes when you're not attacking. 4 Quick Ball to find out your Pokemon. And 4 Scoop here to reuse your Muck line. Also get things out of the active. Is playing 3 copies of Yellhorn, a new card that came out with the Darkness Blaze expansion here. Confuses both Pokemon, so especially if you put Lily's Pokédoll in the active, you don't care if you're attacking, so you can just sort of hinder your opponent's strategy a little bit more, make them flip coins, and if you can keep using Dirty Work over and over again, it's definitely a nice situation for yourself to keep milling cards. And actually playing 6 different boss cards here, technically 6 different Giovanni's cards, so 2 boss, and we already covered Giovanni's Exile, playing 4 copies of that in here, as well as 2 copies of Surge to be able to reuse or use multiple supporters, as you're obviously not taking prizes here. So Surge is definitely a card that we see a lot of use here in these mill and control style decks, and 4 copies of Marnie here for Truffle Draw and Disruption. Here, as well as 4 copies of Curse Shovel. Might as well play this in a mill deck. If it gets knocked out, you get to discard top 2 cards of your deck, so getting your opponent closer and closer to that mill win condition here. And then it looks like 3 Capture Energy and 4 Twin Energy here to wrap out the energy count here. So yeah, Harry again playing this very cool deck. I'm definitely gonna try this out sometime on stream as well. So definitely cool to see that deck be featured and almost win a game here against Patrick, our 2nd place player here. So cool stuff there for sure. I want to see if we can pull out our last deck here that we're going to cover in this video here. Looks like it is the deck that Michael Catron piloted here. It was very close. Actually, I think opened 4-0 here with this deck, but unfortunately hit some bad matchups here. Is playing Dragopult as well. Obviously, we covered this before with Max Phantom, but a very interesting inclusion here. Playing Lycanroc GX. I forgot this card was still in format here. Is in Team Up, so barely sticking around and hanging on here in the standard format. Has some interesting stuff here to look at. Twilight Eyes says when you evolve it, you can discard energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, which pairs very well with Splintered Shards here. 30 damage for each energy card in your opponent's discard pile. So you can get a whole lot of energy in there, and especially this is in here for stuff like Eternatus, so you can deal very nice damage with Splintered Shards and sort of knock out those fighting weak Pokemon quickly, sort of out of nowhere here. Interesting inclusions to the deck as well. 1 Giratina with Dimension Breach and a Mewtwo here, as well as 1 Crobat, 1 Zigzagoon, and a Dedenne, as well as 4 Jirachi here. And getting into the trainer cards, 4 Crushing Hammer here again. Disrupting Energy is great in this Dragopult deck, as well as pairing very well with Splintered Shards. And then for 2 copies of Energy Spinner to find energy out of the deck, 2 copies of Evolutionary Incense to find this evolution Pokemon, 2 Becalm, 4 Quick Ball to reset Stamp, 4 copies of Scoop Up Net here, obviously very popular in this deck, Jirachi decks, and also playing Zigzagoon, and a whole lot of other targets for Scoop Up Net as well, and 4 Switch here to wrap out the item cards. And then for supporters, looks like going for 4 Research, 3 Marnie, and a Boss. And yeah, looks like the energy count here, 8 energy. Looks like only playing 1 Aurora energy, so only wants to, looks like he utilized that Lycanroc once here. Interesting to see if Catron decides to re-ramp this deck up and play a little bit more Aurora energy. I know in the deck that the match we featured on stream, he actually ended up prizing that Aurora energy, which possibly cost him the game, which was unfortunate to see. So maybe he wanted to play some more so that he doesn't get that prized and end up costing him some games in some unfortunate situations. And it looks like 3 copies of Horror Energy here and 4 Psychic Energy to wrap out the energy count. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video here. Hope you guys enjoyed us covering these decks here. The top 8 decks, and then these 2 very cool, interesting decks that Catron and Harry piloted here. If you guys want to see more content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I think we're close to like 300 subs now already. Keep the love pouring in. Keep sharing that video. Show you guys your friends this, and keep doing that cool stuff. If you guys want to play these tournaments again, link to that Discord will be down below. And make sure you guys go follow me on socials. Follow me on Twitter. I post updates and a lot of cool stuff over there. And you guys should just be following me in general, so go follow me over there. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys again for watching. All the love and support. Hope you guys have a nice day. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.